So I hope you are able to see the screen.
Yes.
Right. Perfect. So I'll introduce myself. I am Hemendra. I have total 8+ years of experience. I worked with almost all major MNCs, and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. Also, I'm a Microsoft certified developer. So far, I have built more than 50 to 60, applications using Power Platform throughout my career, and I have delivered so many trainings on Power Platform as well. Right. Apart from this, I also have experience with different other technologies like Python, Java, Kotlin, native Android development, C++, database, data structures, and algorithms. So all these things are my fields of experience. But currently, from past some years, I've been majorly focusing on Power Platform application development. Right, I have completed a couple of certifications like Power Platform Fundamentals, App Maker, Functional Consultant, Developer. All these certifications I completed. Right, so this is just brief introduction about me. Now I'll just start, you know, uh, about like what are the types of development approaches we have and all of those. So before I start that, let's say wherever you have any questions, so please don't hesitate to stop me right there and then ask your questions. Okay, and then I'll clarify all the questions you have, right? And going forward, so I mean, whenever you face some difficulties, like don't hesitate to ask me. I'll clear all your doubts, and I'll share all the recordings of this session. My team will take care of sharing these recordings with you. So all these meetings are recorded, and it will be shared with you. And also, I'll share all these PPTs that we are using and the notes that I'll be writing on the sessions. Again, I'll try to make sure to share all of those materials with you post the sessions. And every day at the end of the session, I'll try to give you some tasks, like basic tasks, so that you can keep on practicing after the session. And at the early morning, or at the very starting of the session, every day you can ask your question, clarify your questions, and we'll try to discuss about the task that I gave. Right, so all those things will follow. So that is a drill. Okay, so we'll start with the questions part in the beginning, right? Every session from tomorrow, and then at the end of the session I'll give you task. You have to complete that, and then that's how you can you know keep practicing the Power Apps. And that's all. That's all as an introduction. So let me try to tell you about types of developers. Okay, so in IT industry, we have two types of developers. Okay, so the first one is called citizen developer and professional developer. So these are two types of development approaches or developers we have in the industry. Okay, so what do you exactly mean by citizen developer, and what do you exactly mean by professional developer? So this is what we're gonna discuss, right? So first, let's discuss the professional developer thing. Okay, so generally, we very much know who is a professional developer, right? So who completes its education in field of computers, and who are familiar with coding, who are extensively write code for building applications and building automations and everything. So they'll choose the code first approach, in the sense they'll deal with all the complex code, complex programming logics and everything. So these type of developers who has computer background, as well as they deal with complex programming and coding stuff, is called as professional developers, right? We call them as professional developers or pro code developers. Okay, on the other hand, we have citizen developers, right? So who are not familiar with the code, right? So they know, or they can able to understand the logics, right? And they wanted to develop applications. Let's say we have business analysts, right? So we have project managers and everyone, right? So let's say they don't know any technical skills, I mean they don't know hardcore programming, but still they want to develop applications, right? So then we have certain tools to support them for completing their development, right? Such tools we'll call as low code tools, and the developers who use those tools are called like low code, no code developers. Okay, right? So we don't need to learn hardcore programming or this to build the applications, because the world is moving right, towards fast development approaches. We need instant applications to be developed. We need quick delivery. So to fulfill all these demands, so companies are building or creating platforms for us so that we can so that we can start building the applications easily. No need to write everything from scratch, right? So if you take, any software, so all the features are almost similar, right? Let's say if you take any application, so the login page is similar, right? So the sign out page is similar. Let's say you have a product showcase, right? That is similar, right? The functionality is similar, but the UI might differ, right? So when everything is, almost close, or when you have repetitiveness in all these softwares, so why can't we build templates and use those so that we can reduce the time taking to develop that application, right? So we can instantly deliver applications, right? So that's the idea of this development approaches. Okay, so in order to explain it better, so I can show you this one, right? So we have pro code developer, right? So they deal with all these, right? So they use IDEs like Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code, or they deal with all the complex, integrations, complex programming languages, and complex logics, right? Whereas the low-code developer actually uses any of the low-code tools to build their applications, to deploy them, to make it available to the end users. So this is very simple approach, right? So they'll quickly build the applications, quickly deploy the applications, and quickly deliver the applications. So there'll be no much, you know, um, hardship in doing all of these. You should have minimal IT knowledge. You shouldn't be pro, right? So with minimum understanding of, IT terminology and IT industry, so you can actually get started with this kind of thing, and then you can quickly develop and use applications, so you don't, need much time to do that, right? Let's say if you wanted to develop a complex application, right, or any application using code first approach, so you need to involve different teams. The time it takes to develop those sort of applications is also very much high, right? And the testing, everything is also takes a lot of time. Again, deployment is again a headache. And when it comes to maintenance, post production, it is also a headache, right? So you need to, spend a lot of money, you need to have a lot of resources, and you need to, manage it very well. So whereas if you take low code or no code tools, you don't need to do all of those. Like a single person or a team of 2 or 3 people can easily develop equivalent applications in very effective manner, and very fast delivery we can expect from them. Okay, so we don't need a UI UX designer, right? So let's, if you have basic understanding of UI UX, and then if you have, some design system in your company that they follow, so we can straight away follow that principles, and we can build the neat and clean UI, right? And then we can write this logic, right, with, lesser number of lines of code, and then very minimal code, we can easily achieve whatever we want using these tools. Okay, so this is how the low code and no code works. Okay, so yeah, feel free to ask me if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll move on to next slide. Okay, this is all about like what is no code low code and what is pro code, right? So that's, so the trend in IT is moving towards low code development, because yeah, as I told, there are so many advantages as compared to pro code, right? So that's how it is moving towards low code no code developers, right? So we have so many low code tools. Okay, I just named few of them here, which are like quite little popular as compared to, others. So I know Mendix, OutSystems, Power Platform, Kissflow, Wix. So Kissflow and Wix are no code platforms. The top three are like Mendix, OutSystems, and Power Platform are low code tools. Okay, so when no code means you don't need to write not even a single line of code. So you can drag and drop UI, and then you can build logic, and then, you don't need to write any, it's not even a single line of code when it comes to low code tools. But when it comes to low code tools, right, so you just need to write small snippets. So not even a complex code, but just like simple built-in functions you'll get. You just need to make use of those functions in order to achieve what you wanted to achieve. Okay, So these are like some of the tools, but in our case we will be focused on Power Platform, which is developed and maintained by Microsoft, right? So Power Platform has so many components in it, so I'll explain each of these one by one, which one we use for what purpose and everything. I'll just explain. Okay. Microsoft Power Platform, right? It's again a low code platform, right? As I discussed, we can build applications, we can build workflows, and we can build chatbots and everything using less amount of code, easy to create, I mean, easy for creating user interfaces by drag and drop UI feature. Okay, so you don't need to write anything for creating the user interfaces. You can simply drag and drop the controls on the screen and then you can quickly build the user interface. Okay. Uh, so there are a lot of advantages. Even when it comes to deployment, it is very easy, right? So when it comes to automation, it is easy. So you can integrate different systems together very easily so that you can exchange or you can share data across different systems. Let's say you have a Confluence, you have a SharePoint, you have SAP, Workday. So your company uses multiple tools. Okay, you wanted to integrate all of these. Let's say you have Jira, you have Azure, you have all of other tools for different purposes, right? So one for ERP, one for CRM, one for HRM, right? So all these tools you just wanted to integrate so that you can seamlessly integrate all and then you can automate some regular stuff, right? So you can do that with Power Platform very much easily. Whereas if you want to follow the code first approach, it will take a lot of your time to do that, right? Again, maintaining will be difficult over there. Okay, so right. So if you have any questions, you can again ask. Um, you can unmute and you can directly ask me. Um, and
Hi, Anandra.
yeah,
Tirupati
hello.
here.
Hey,
Yeah,
hi,
so
Tirupati.
I'm yeah, so I'm working professional. So
Okay.
I'm from D365 Finance and Operations. So
Oh,
actually,
nice.
I'm looking so I'm looking this course as an integration app. So that will be useful for me to integrate with ERP. Okay, so how
Right.
the entire course will go in your training? So you target it as a generic course first and later continue with the integrations with other apps, or it will go in a generic way.
Right. So actually, let me show you the, you know, course curriculum, right? So you're able to see this, right, Tirupati?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, it is divided into 4 5 modules. Okay. Right. 4 modules. First, I'll introduce you to Power Apps and Power Automate, right? And then in Power Apps, we have different types of Power Apps, as you know, right? Canvas apps, model driven apps, and Power
Yes,
Pages,
yes.
right?
I
So
heard, but I never worked on that.
right, right. So actually, what I'll do, I'll introduce you to all these apps, how they use. So our course is primarily focusing on Canvas apps and Power Automate, right? And because all these model driven apps and Power Pages are all part of this particular platform, so I'll actually show you how that works. And also we have something called Power Virtual Agents, so I'll also be teaching you that. Okay, so model driven application, so I'll show you how exactly we do model driven apps. Okay, and we also have Power Virtual Agents, so I'll actually teach you how to create chatbots as well. And then we'll actually build 4 to 5 real-time applications where you can get expertise with everything in Power Platform, so that you can whenever you get so many scenarios asked in the interview, you can easily explain, hey, in this scenario I'll use this particular tool here and then I'll integrate it like this. So you are in a position to able to explain everything in detail when when you have been asked in interviews about all the scenarios and everything, and you can actually start building applications. So that's what I am focused on this course, right? So Canvas apps, Power Automate, model driven apps, and Power Virtual Agents. And I'll teach and I'll help you build multiple applications. Okay.
Okay, so do you discuss on the data lake concepts in this process?
No. Data lake is not in the
Dataverse,
scope.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
Dataverse. Yes, exactly. So we can able to connect multiple data sources to Power Apps. So Dataverse is one of them, right? We have SharePoint, we have SQL Server, so a lot of other things also there. So I'll definitely, discuss about Dataverse because that is most important. And then we'll also discuss about SharePoint as a data source for Power Apps. Yeah,
Okay. And what
right.
about
Yeah.
Power BI? Yeah. Power BI is not covered in this.
No. This is primarily focused on Power Apps and Power Automate. Power BI, I think it's a separate training that we have to go through. You can actually check with the team. So whether
Okay.
is there any specialized training? Yeah. But in this scope, like we don't have that.
Yeah, that is good. That is good. Is there any scenario that you explain the integration part with any other application, be it ERP or some other external application?
Yes. I'll definitely show that. Actually, we can connect it with a lot of applications, right? So I'll show you
Mm,
how to how to connect it with internally Microsoft applications. Let's say you want to integrate Outlook with Power Apps, right?
mm,
Teams with Power Apps, or all the Microsoft Suite, how to integrate, I'll show you. And then external applications. Let's say you have
yeah,
Monday.com, you have Workday, you have Jira, you have, any other external things like from Atlassian Suite or Oracle Suite or, other than Microsoft from G Suite or anything. So we'll try to take one example and I'll show you how to integrate that with Power Platform, right? So that is one case. And third is, let's say you have any API, right? Let's say you created your own API, right? I'll show you how to create custom connectors so that you can talk to your API. Let's say you have created an API which generate random jokes. Okay. Every time you hit that API, it generate a joke. Okay. So even you
okay,
can connect that with Power Apps. So I'll show you all these three types of integrations. One is out of Microsoft integrations, external suite applications, and then your own API if you have. So we'll integrate that and I can show it to you.
yeah. This will help me because I am
Right.
morely looking for in a real-time scenarios. Okay, yeah,
Definitely. And I'll walk you through the full real-time applications. So since I have experience of building close to 60 applications so far in all these
great.
6 7 years with Power Platform, right? So I'll teach you what kind of, what are the best practices that we need to follow, what are the, optimization techniques that we need to follow, and then how can you deploy the applications, how can you design the user interface, and what are the kind of requirements that you will get in the real time, and how do you approach those requirements with help of high level design diagrams. I'll draw them, I'll show you how we are talking with different tools, and then I'll explain you. Okay.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Perfect, Tirupati. So let me know if you have any more questions.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I
fine
have
for
a
me.
question.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a question. How many projects will you be covering in this throughout the course? Is there just one project, or there would be multiple projects?
No, after each part, so sorry, first, like, can you introduce yourself so that I can, it'll be easy for me
My
to
name is
refer.
Deepika.
Deepika. Hello, Deepika. Right. So yeah. So actually, as part of every day, we'll be building some apps, right? Every day, if I teach a concept, so it'll be a small mini application that is completed as part of that particular session. But apart from that, I'll teach you one real-time application, the full-fledged real-time applications with integration of all. But as part of discussing these things, right? So we'll eventually end up building more and more mini applications, right? So when you get understanding of all these, so if I can explain you one whole real-time project, then that is sufficient for you to get started, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So you can follow this. You see, right? At the end of every module, you have this mini application out of by using all these things or features we have learned, all the concepts we have learned. So we'll be building a mini application at the end of each module, and then in the finally, right? So I'll actually explain one real-time app, you know so totally five projects, you can say, like four individual modules, four apps, and then one final app, right?
Okay.
And then in between, I'll also be giving you different tasks. You should complete all of those. So we work like how we are working in a real-time project. Let's say if I start a real-time project, I'll build something. You also have to build that. On top of that, I'll give you tasks. You have to also complete that so that it will be an interactive learning. Okay, wherever you're stuck, I'm there to help you, no problem. Okay. right? And at the end of the session, so I'll also tell you how to crack 900 certification, right? Because these days in all the interviews they're asking, the interviewers to be completing these certifications. So without certifications, so mostly they're not looking for developers, like they're at least asking PL 900 and then later certifications. So it is good if you have these certifications completed, then it'll help you in shortlisting the resume. So I'll tell you how to prepare for 900, and there will be some free coupons from Microsoft for PL 900. So I'll try to help you how you can get that, right? And also I'll be discussing so many interview questions because myself I have taken almost 50-60 interviews throughout my career, and I also have attended more interviews, like close to 60-70 interviews I have attended, because I keep on attending interviews so that I'll get to know what exactly is industry is demanding, right? So that's why I always try to attend interviews and get to know what exactly their expectations are. So I have enough experience to guide you, and then I can share list of interview questions, frequently asked interview questions with you. So that is enough for cracking Power Platform interview. And since very beginning of my career, when I started with Power Platform, so the adoption was very less, but now the adoption is quite high, and almost every company have Power Platform in their company. So we don't need to worry about job openings or anything. So there are plenty of openings, and then I'll guide you how to crack the interview. Also, I'll help you in cracking the certification. Okay. Oh, sorry, somebody is trying to speak and then I was interrupting. Sorry.
Hi, Amendra. This is Redappa.
Hi, Redappa.
Yeah. So I have experience on, hands-on experience on Power BI and Power BI admin, apart from Azure admin activities, all this. So I have
Okay,
built,
perfect.
Power App, one of the Power App in my current project. And also
Great.
we have the lot of automate flows as well. But,
Right.
I just have the little knowledge. Because
Great.
yeah, in my report we have one of the some cost scenarios, okay, in Azure portal component cost. Okay, so
Okay.
we are going to send the automated emails to the respective service owners on monthly basis. Okay, please have a look into the cost optimization technique. So those kind of also you will explain in the Power Automate.
Right, Redappa. Yeah. So we have different types of Power Automate flows, like cloud flows, automated flows, and scheduled flows, right? In your scenario, we need to go with scheduled flows because every month on certain date, you need to send them the cost report, right? So you can choose scheduled reports, and I'll help you how to build those kind of those kind of Power Automate flows. Yeah, we'll cover all of those. Yes.
Okay.
So you can
Yeah,
actually check
actually,
the.
yeah, inside that Power Automate, we have
Mhm.
written little DAX functions. Okay, that
Okay.
specific visual we have to retrieve the data from that specific
Right.
visual. From there, we have to frame the email, I mean, in detailed way, because the LT should be the email should be readable format, right? So in a
Right.
table
Right.
format. So yeah.
Right.
Okay, okay, sure, sure. Thank you, thank you.
So, right. So we'll be using HTML, little bit of HTML, not the pro HTML, for formatting it in a beautiful way in the Outlook email, and then we can actually query the Power BI, and then
The
we can
same
build all these
question I also
automation.
had.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So may I know who
Yeah,
is
so
this, please?
you, yeah, Deepika again. So it says
Hey,
that
hi,
we would
Deepika.
be using working with JSON files and HTML. So I read it somewhere when you were just scrolling this Word document. So would you be teaching us JSON, because it's just JSON files, or would you be covering JSON, etc.? I don't know. It says HTML. As I know, I am not acquainted with HTML or JSON.
Yeah, actually, don't need to worry, right? Because we are not HTML developers, right? So we'll just use little bit of HTML for beautification purposes in Power Automate, right? And in Power Apps
So it would be
also.
mobile driven app or web apps, right? In which we would be using JSON and HTML.
No, actually, in the Power Apps also we'll use, but we don't need to know whole HTML. If you know basics, right? Like let's say what this tag does or anything, like just the basics of, or if you can read, if you are able to just read the HTML, then that is sufficient. So I'll show you how to copy paste, HTML and where you have to get it from, and then how to build that. So you don't need to be good with HTML, but if you can just able to understand it, then that is sufficient, right? And when it comes to
Okay.
JSON, yes, you need to understand JSON. I'll teach you what JSON is and what are the different things that are involved in JSON. And then that JSON concept helps you understand, helps you better understand Power Apps, records and data structure, right? But that is not hard part. JSON is very simple. You have a very limited number of things that are involved in JSON, so hardly 5 to 6 concepts in JSON, like 5 to 6 points. I would not even say concepts. So it is very easy. Okay. So yes, you need to understand JSON, but HTML, I would say, if you can just read it and if you can able to understand it, that is fine. You don't need to learn HTML. But if you know already, then that is good. But if you don't know, then no worry. Actually, you can get it from online and then you can use it accordingly.
Hemendra, Ashish this side. I have one
Hello,
question.
Ashish. Sure.
Yeah, we just wanted to understand like now we are developing so many apps through Power Automate and Power Apps. So will you be guiding on the writing the policies, how it should be in the organization level, how to control or maybe these type of
Right, right.
stuff?
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. So we'll use the concept of solutions for better managing the applications and workflows. So we'll group all the related flows and connection references. So you have a lot of components within the Power Apps, right? So you have Power Apps, custom connectors, data sources, all the connection references, environment variables, tables, all these components together you'll package as a solution. So that's how you manage. So I'll actually teach you how to, better manage those as well. Okay, going forward.
Y- Yeah, so basically I'm looking for the from policy point of view, on the
Mhm. Okay,
organization level, because
right,
every individual is creating on their from their
right.
point of view, they are creating the
Right,
applications. Yeah.
right. You have to actually control it through security roles, and then you have to create user roles like app maker or environment maker, or like these type of predefined roles are there. So I'll actually show it to you how to do that or how to write those policies so that the compliance and the governance part of the Power Apps you are talking about. So I'll actually explain it to you.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Hemendra,
Ashish.
yeah, Tirupati here.
Yeah.
So
Hello,
I have,
Tirupati.
yeah, I have one query. I read it somewhere, or my assumption is wrong. I'm not sure. The Power
Okay.
Apps is also targeted for actual business users, where they can create some lightweight apps, or adding some options, or dragging some fields available on that form. Is that true? Or it is only for the developer who develops, and not for the business users to customize or do something, deal with this development?
No, actually, you are right. It is actually focusing on developers. I mean business users, but I mean, currently the business users not in a position to, learn it and then implement it. Still, there is a support of, I mean, they needs the support from developers, and then it will work in this way. Like going forward, most of the applications will be moving towards low code, no code development. So all these developers will eventually be helping, business users. Like Excel, you can assume, Excel, how Excel
Hmm.
is being used in the industry, right? When it comparison to database and everything. So business people are now in a position to write a little bit of formulas. They can little bit of manage and transform data in Excel, but they're not like able to do it fully, right? So still we need, let's say they don't know Power Query in Excel also, right? You as a Power BI developer, you have to help them if they want complex things. So in the same way that works. So the aim is to promote the citizen development, right? More people can use it, but now it is in the phase of, the industry is trying to adopt it, and then people are using started using it more widely. So we have a lot of scope for going forward in the future, because I've seen so many openings, so many freelancing projects, and so many companies started using it. Like almost every company is looking for Power Apps and Power Automate developers these days. So yeah, so even
So, and
citizen
mm,
developers started adopting it. Like it will be hard for them to get it switch, I mean get it instantly, right? So it will take a lot of time for them, and then maintain applications. So
So
they
when you
cannot do. I
say
mean, they can
citizen
quickly build it.
developer, I think
Yeah,
it's just a developer, right? With some limited access or limited knowledge, not the business user, right?
right, right.
Okay. And
Exactly.
also
So
there is
just like
no,
just
there
like
is,
Power
okay.
BI, let's say
Mhm.
in Python, you can use Matplotlib or any other, D3JS or anything visualization library, right? So that is the pro code approach. So you use that libraries for developing visuals, right? But what Power BI did to us is like you can quickly drag and drop and arrange all the visuals, and then you can, manipulate and load the data and manipulate it and transform it, and then you connect this data and visuals together, so the visualization will, happen, right? But it looks like it is simple and business users also can do it, but you know how hard it is, right? Let
Yeah.
little bit of at least development experience needs to be there in order to start with that. So in the similar way it works, right?
Okay. But
It looks
as of
simpler.
now, there is no
Yeah.
such a standard feature or functionality for the business users to
No, no,
customize, right? Okay. Okay.
no, no,
That's
no.
what actually my main query for. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
Thank you.
Right. So anybody, any more questions?
Hi, Hemendra. Rohit here.
Hello, Rohit.
One question from my side regarding this lifecycle management of the app. Would you be able to cover, like, suppose you have a functional app and then you add more features in such a way that you want to update it to the existing app, like a version 1.1, 2, whatever it is.
Right,
But we want a smooth transition from one version to the other. So,
right.
how's that managed? Will that be covered as part of the course?
Right, right, exactly. So actually, we'll maintain different environments and Power Apps. Okay, we have development and as you know, UAT and production. So these kind of environments we have. So we'll develop application in the development environment, obviously, and then we generally move it to a production environment. Like we call this movement as deployment, right? So we can do it in two ways: manual and automated way. So for when you do it manually, you have to export it as a zip file, and then you have to overwrite the current application in the production, right? So that is the manual way of doing, and it takes time and effort, right? So now they have introduced,
Hemant,
yeah.
I got
Now,
disconnected. So can you repeat what you said? I just missed from the JSON file you were explaining earlier.
oh yeah. So actually, to give you the context, I mean, Rohit asked a question about application lifecycle management. So he wanted to know how we can maintain different versions, because if you develop an application, so there will be more feature requests in the future, right? So customers will ask us to add some more features. So then he was asking me, how can we add new features to the existing app and and make this transition very smooth. So that's what his question was. So I was explaining we can do it in two ways in Power Platform. So one is the manual way. Okay, so you have to, and I mean generally we'll have different environments: development, staging, UAT, and then production, these kind of environments. So after adding features to the development version of the app, so we export it and we move it to different versions, different environments, I would say, like QA, UAT, and then production, right? So this is manual way of doing exporting and importing. But we also have an automated approach. So that is through CI/CD pipelines. So the DevOps concept. So we can easily build and configure CI/CD pipelines, continuous integration and continuous deployment pipelines in Power Apps, so that as soon as you publish something, it will be directly moved to production after some preliminary checks and everything. So it will be directly moved to production. So we can also automate this deployment process. So I will be teaching you how to do that as well in future sessions. So Rohit,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you,
yeah.
Hemendra.
So
Thank
Rohit,
you.
is that what you are asking for, or like the
Exactly.
answer got deep? Okay.
Yes, on point. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Sure. So earlier we used to use Azure DevOps for developing the CI/CD pipelines, but now recently they actually made it out of the box feature for us, so that we can easily configure and deploy these applications with CI/CD pipelines, right? So that's a new feature that they introduced recently, right? So yeah, so coming back to that is all about different things that we're going to cover in our sessions. If you have any questions, you can actually, yeah,
Hello,
sure. Yes, hello.
this is Kavita. Sir,
Hello,
actually,
Kavita.
while you are explaining, can you go a little bit slow because very fast you are
Oh, yeah.
explaining all those things. So reduce your
Oh,
speed
no,
and
no.
at the same time, please reply for us in the message also whenever we are
Oh,
giving
sure.
some messages. Okay, because you didn't notice it, I think so.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I have actually, yeah. Sorry.
No,
Sure.
it's okay.
I'll do that. So I should have actually used, yeah, multi-monitor this thing. Oh,
Mm,
yes.
okay, just for
Okay, you're
information.
asking.
Sorry.
Oh yeah,
It's
perfect.
all.
No, no, no. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Okay,
Actually, Kavita, I'll take that as a good feedback. But the thing
okay.
is, like for the demo, I'm like I sound a little bit, faster, but in the
Mm,
live sessions, we'll actually spend a lot of time for
yeah,
while developing the stuff. Okay.
okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So thank you for the feedback. Oh yeah. So let me actually go through chat. The screen sharing window is appearing small size. Is there any way to maximize it? Or you are not able to? So actually, can you confirm me what exactly you are? Oh yeah, no, no, I can see this here. Okay, so you're able to see my small monitor. Okay, I have a wide monitor set up in the background. Okay, so I'll be checking your messages, right? True, I have. I think it's just an hour session. We almost completed 30 minutes. What's the duration of the course? So actually, the duration of the course. So I'm not sure who the P is. Uh, so yeah, so the duration of the course is almost 35 to 40 days, and in this time frame, I'll cover all these things. Also, we'll build all those projects, right? Mm, so let me actually show you how the Power Apps interface looks and how you design interfaces, and I'll also show you how the real-time application looks. Okay, right. Uh, so the first thing is, okay, yeah, as I told, we have three different types of
Hi,
Power Apps.
Nanda.
Yeah, hello Thiru.
Yeah, so the window, the screen sharing window, still it appears in small size for me. So is it same for
Uh,
other participants also?
Hold on.
No, Thiro,
Actually,
actually, you have to customize your setting. I see it quite large. You
Mm-hmm.
can toggle to full mode.
Yeah, I actually tried it, but don't know. Like, okay, you can continue, but it is not a big problem. Still, I can see, but in
so
font size
what
is
I'll
very
do,
small.
let me stop sharing and I'll reshare it. Let's see if that works. Okay, Thiru.
Okay, okay,
I'll
there is
just,
a
yeah.
option for me. Yeah, yeah, I got it now. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Oh, no problem. So I'm just again sharing the screen. So I hope you are able to see it now.
Yes, yes, it's better.
Perfect. Yes. So we have three different types of Power Apps. One is called Canvas apps, model driven apps, and Power Pages. Okay. So I'll quickly show you how you can log into Power Apps portal and you can get started with your first Power Apps application, right? Before you do that, you need to have, for practice purpose, you need to have Office 365 E3 license. Okay. So Office 365 E3 license is available for free for 30 days. And once the 30 days pre-release trial is exhausted, you can actually extend your trial. So you can keep on extending your trial until you want, whenever you want, you can actually, after the completion of the trial, you can click on extend and it will get extended. So not a problem. So the first thing you need to do before coming to the session tomorrow, so I'll give you this link. Okay. So you have to create your E3 license account and then you should be ready with Power Apps portal. Okay. But again, if you face any difficulties, I'll solve it in the tomorrow early morning. I mean tomorrow session at the very beginning for the first 15 minutes. We'll discuss about your difficulties. You can use this URL. I'll put it in the chat for now.
Hemendra,
And
what is the timing of the session?
I think 6:30 p.m. IST. That's been conveyed to me. But if there is any change in the timing, then team will update you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So currently, I think you can consider that as 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. IST. Right. So I gave this URL in the chat, so you can actually open it.
The trial,
And
Hemendra, will be for 30 days, right?
yes, it is for 30 days, and then you can keep on extending it.
Okay.
Yeah. So after 30 days, it'll ask you to extend your trial. So you can click on extend, it'll easily extendable. Yeah. So if let's say if it expires, then you can use a different email ID and you can create one more account. But when you go to actual, organization, so they will have licensed version, so it will not be a trouble for us.
So, Hemendra, can we use with our Gmail account for this license?
Yeah. I think you can use it. Yeah. So you just need an email address and phone number. I think that's all you need. Right.
Okay.
So if you click on the URL that I shared, you will land in a page and you can see this, right? Try free for a 1 month. So you just click on that and it will guide you. And you can
Uh,
also, check how to create E3 license. So just like be ready with this account setup by tomorrow. So it is I mean, it is easy. You just need to enter your basic details and your, account will be ready. Give your email and, click on next, some details, and then, payment info, and that's it. I don't think you need to mandatorily give your payment details. I think you can skip this section. But if you face any issues, like as I said, we'll cover it in tomorrow's session.
the data source here would be SharePoint, I believe, no, Hemendra? Like primary data source, because I think Dataverse will not come as part of E3, or I'm not sure.
Yeah. So here we'll not get it, but I think we can. I'll show it to you at least from my side. In E3 we'll get it. Yeah. In E5 and E3, but all the business, basic subscriptions and everything, you'll not get it. But in the E3, I think you can get it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sure. So yeah, you can use that URL to create this account, and
Can
we'll
you share this URL in the chat?
yes, I think I already did it. But oh, it's not there. Yeah, it is here. So if you want, I can reshare it. Yep. We
Also,
should
one last
cover it.
question, Hemendra, maybe for a next session. The
Yes.
actual difference between this app license and a user license, that is always something I can never figure out through the internet. Like, I suppose we have to share with multiple users what is the licensing and what is this app plan for.
Right. Per app, per
For
user. So there's a
yeah,
different type of licenses.
for another
Sure.
session, not for now. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Yeah. I'll no, licensing is also
Could,
covered
if
in this
possible,
concept.
could,
I'll do that. Yeah. Hello, Vamshi.
sorry,
Yeah.
Hemendra. If possible, could you share those details now? It will be much better understanding about the licensing.
Sure.
Yeah. I
I
also
think yeah. So can we take it in the tomorrow session, because today we are almost running out of time, right? So I'll share all these. I think we also have a dedicated session about licensing. So can we cover, we'll cover in that session. It'll be more comfortable for others also, because you know people feel more comfortable, right? Can
Okay.
we
Yeah.
take it on, probably third or fourth session, so it'll be comfortable. Okay.
Okay.
Right, perfect. But primarily we have two types of licenses, right? Like Power App, per app user, per app and per user. So I'll explain in detail uh, what that licensing is, and you know different scenarios of how licensing works. Right. So let me actually you know take let me take you to Power Apps portal. I again gave this URL in the PPT. So this is a URL generally, make.powerapps.com. Make.powerapps.com is the URL for landing into Power Apps Studio. I'm just copying the port. Let me. Yep. So you can use this URL, like post creating the E3 license account. You can use this URL, or you can actually, land from launcher. So you have this app launcher icon in the top. So if you click on that, it will show different types of applications. Yeah, you see, right? You have Outlook, OneDrive, Word, Excel, all these, and you also have Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI. So from here also you can launch Power Apps. Ultimately, it will take you to make.powerapps.com. So from here we will be creating our applications. Okay. So here you have home. This left pane has different controls. Okay. Different options. I'll explain one by one later. But just to show you how simple the Power Apps UI looks, so I'll just create a dummy application and then I'll show how the user interface looks for building applications, right? So you have to click on create, and you have different options, whether you want to create a blank app from the scratch, or let's say your data is hosted in Dataverse. You can pick the data and you can, it will give you a ready-made template and then you can customize it. Or if your data is hosted on SharePoint. Okay, so then you can use your SharePoint data for building the application. Then it will first give you some template, then later you can customize it. In the same way, let's say if your data is in Excel or SQL, something like that, you can use. I'll choose the blank. Okay, so here if you see, right, as I told, we have three different types of Power Apps: Canvas app, model driven app, and Power Pages. Okay, so I'll explain you the difference of all the three. Okay, but the first one I'll show you is a Canvas app. Okay, so you can create a Canvas app, or you can choose a model driven app or a Power Page. Okay, so the basic difference is Canvas apps is more customizable. Okay, the look and feel, the UI, everything looks more good here in the Canvas app. In the model driven app, you don't have much control of how the UI should look like. You will have predefined components and templates, so you just have to choose, and it is more data oriented or data focused. Okay, and the Power Pages is basically to build websites, external facing websites. You can use Power Pages. Okay, so the Canvas apps is more like an application with great UI and logic also. Okay, so you can actually customize in whichever way you want. So actually click on blank app and then choose Canvas app, click on create, and then it will ask you whether you want to develop it for tablet or mobile. So tablet again means tablet plus web, right? If you choose tablet, it will be both for web and tablet. If you choose it for mobile, it will be for phone. Okay, if you choose phone, it will be for phone. Okay, but whether you choose this or this, you can still access this from web. Okay, but the size of that app will be smaller. If you choose phone, it will be in this layout, vertical layout. If you choose tablet, it will be in the landscape mode or the horizontal orientation. Okay, only the difference is that the size of the application, but both can be accessed from internet, web browser, via a URL. Okay, so you'll have a URL. Using that URL, you can browse or access the application. So app name, I'll just give it as day one. Click on create. It'll actually create an application for you, right? So the studio, so this entire thing, we'll call it as Power Apps Studio. So from here to here, this thing is Power Apps Studio. Okay, so in this studio, what we'll do, we'll build the applications. Okay, so this white section is called canvas. Okay, so this canvas is to arrange different controls. So this is the canvas which is used for arranging multiple controls like radio buttons, checkboxes, buttons. So we have different controls. We'll arrange them on this canvas, and this entire space is called a studio, PowerApps Studio. Okay. So just to make you understand how simple PowerApps is, so in the official documentation, what they have mentioned about PowerApps is, right, it's a combination of PowerPoint plus Excel. Okay. So in the PowerPoint, what you'll do, you'll simply drag and drop. Like, let's click on insert, click on this. Yeah, click on this, and you see, right? So something got dropped on the screen. It is a text label, so you can put it wherever you want. You can move it wherever you want within this canvas. Okay, just like this. And you can extend the size of this. You can give whatever you want, whatever you want to write. Let's say you want to increase, width and height. You want to increase the font size to, let's say, 28 or probably 48. Yeah, it looks good, right? So you can select this control. You have all the properties of this control: font color, and font size. What is the type of font, whether you want to use like different types of fonts. What is the font weight, semi bold or medium, or regular? Font styles, italic, underline, and everything. So these are the some of the customizations that you can do to the control that you dropped on the canvas. Okay, so in this canvas you can drop so many controls. You have text, you have button, containers, galleries, forms, different options. You have different layouts, you have input controls. So many controls. You can actually drop them here and then arrange it wherever you want and then customize it. So here, if you observe, we are not even writing a single line of code for changing the color, changing the background. You can do anything you want from this properties. Let's say if you want more properties, click on advanced, and you see, right, you have alignment property, auto height, language, accessibility text, visibility, alignment, everything. You have so many options you have. So you can actually use these options for customizing this. In the same way, you can drop multiple controls. Let's say you want to drop a button, and then I want to increase the size of the button. Let's say button, I'll say click me. And if you want to add an icon to that button, so icon will be added. And let's say if you want to increase the font size because the font size is too low, I'll just use some font, and the font size is, let's say, 48 again, right? You see, right? So font size is increased. So I'm not writing anything, right? I'm just picking from predefined properties. So you can use properties and you can actually customize your controls on the screen. So in the same way, you have, you can display charts. Let's say the column chart, and then you can connect the data to it. So chart is predefined. It looks something like this, right? So while doing this, you should remember this PPT, right? In the PowerPoint also, what I'll do, if I have to insert, I'll go here, I'll insert a table, I'll insert a picture, I'll insert some shapes. So in the same way, how I deal PowerPoint, in the same way, I'll design the user interface. Okay. So that is that simple for designing the user interface. And in order to make it functional, okay, so using the interface, you are making it look beautiful, right? In order to make it functional, you need to write some programming logic or something, right? So the logic looks similar to what we write in Excel. So in the Excel, we'll write simple formulas, right? Filter, lookup, VLOOKUP, or search, sort, all these functions how we write in the Excel formula. So here you write the formula, right? So in the same way, you have concat, sum, average. So in the same way, we have PowerFX language in PowerApps. So there is a language called PowerFX. We use that for writing the logic. So simply we can say it's a combination of Power Apps and PowerPoint and Excel. Okay, Excel kind of logic, PowerPoint like user interface. So simple. If you combine both, you can build enterprise level applications, right? So that is simple, right? So in the same manner, you can add more screens, like how you add more slides here. New screen, you can actually add one more screen here, and then on the click of button, let's say you want to go from this screen to this is screen 1 and screen 2, right? On the click of button, you want to land in the screen 2. So then what you will write in the on select property, you'll write, navigate, and where you want to navigate to, you want to navigate to screen 2, and you'll just done. That's it. You don't need to write any hardcore logic, right? Play it, click on this. Now you are in the second screen, right? So this simple. So you have that short, simple functions. You just need to use it, and then you can build great apps. So now let me show you one of the app that I built as part of my, process. So this is a dummy app. Okay. So you can actually build anything you want. You can customize it. You can have this header, everything.
One quick question here, Hemendra. Like
Sure,
the
Rohit.
responsive, the responsive app concept, like how it stretches, whether it's a phone or a tablet or a laptop. Uh, could you guide us when the classes begin
Right.
for the best practice on that? Because that's so important, that stretching and sizing
Right.
of
So if
these
you see
screens.
the yes, correct. So that is good question, Rohit, actually. So I'll be covering that responsiveness as part of our curriculum. So we'll be covering responsiveness. I'll show you. Yes, you see, right? Responsive Power Apps. So let's say you build something for tablet, right? If your users are using mobile, so it look weird, right? So we'll make that app look good in mobile also by using the concept of responsiveness. Okay, by using containers, by using dynamic height and width, basically dynamic dimensions. So we'll make the app responsive. So I'll cover this as part of our curriculum. Okay,
Thank you.
sure. So yeah, so this is the app that I built, so using this simple interface, I built this app. So I built this, left pane where you have different sections, kind of navigation drawer. And it, let me tell you, so this is role based authentication also is there. Like I have 5 to 6 different roles in this app, like partner agency people, service and SW people, operational governance people. So we have different user roles, and not everyone will see the same user interface here. So since I'm an admin, I'm able to see this kind of interface. Let's say you are from a different department, so you'll only see couple of options here. You will not see all these options. Okay, so that kind of role based authentication, permissions, everything is there. And then if you want to see the user interface, right? So this is a form that I built. You can use rich text and everything. You have collapsible sections here, you know and then so many flows and Power Automate, flows are integrated in this. And you have, Excel file upload option. So you can directly upload Excel files to this, and then the data in the Excel file will be imported to SharePoint list. And then the imported Excel file, you can click on this and it will download the Excel file to you, right? So there are so many advanced options we have. So it is able to search the files and everything. So you have the searching feature, you can filter these items by different views. These are the only two approved items. We have no closed items. We have, critical items. These are the critical items. If you click on that, you can actually, check the information in it. The ID is 32 and everything, right? So you can actually see what that record has and everything. And I also have live chat feature. So I can enter any comments on that record, you know click on send, and it will be sent to that particular person. So all these I just did using Power Apps. This is not Power Virtual Agents or something. So this is inbuilt Power Apps concepts. All of these are. So the messaging feature, it also have live refresh. So if a user sends one more message, it'll directly be visible here. So you can think this application. So whatever I have built as a service now, right? So it's a ticketing tool where if you face any issue, you'll log a ticket and responsible team it will be assigned to the responsible team, and then they will action on that ticket and you will get the notification, hey, this has been done, this has been closed, or we cannot resolve this, or it is escalated to a different team. So it's a kind of issues and actions register is the app that I built. It is a kind of clone of service now, you can say, shorter version of service now, where you can log your help desk tickets, you can raise any request and everything, and then it will be handled by different teams. And then you can edit this, you can chat, you can share this record with any other people who they don't have access, right? you know you let's say this, you created this ticket, okay, you wanted to follow up this, you can follow up 3 times, okay, so that is the limit that set by my business analyst. So they should have an option to follow up 3 times. Let's say you created this ticket, okay, so it's been 5 days, nobody responded on that ticket, okay, so then I wanted to follow up, I followed up 1 time, right, I clicked on second time, right, 2 times I followed up on this ticket. So the other person should have received an email, hey, somebody, I mean, this requester is asking you what is the status of this ticket. So that kind of email will be sent to that user. So all these features we have implemented just in Power Apps. Okay, you see the status wise user interface, neat and clean UI, right? Based on its status, there is a different color to this record, you know and you can navigate to all of these features. So you have some people management, you can add people to different groups. Like, let's say I have some Azure AD groups, I can pick the group here and I can add people to that group easily. And you can actually embed some of the Power BI reports here. So currently we don't have any reports, but I can show these. It also gets the current logged in user context, right? And if you want any help, right, we created a documentation for them to go through this. So I added that link here. So all these kind of multi-user role, multi-lingual applications. Also, I'll teach you role-based authentication, permissions, all the user interface concepts, deployment concepts. So those kind of concepts I'll show you. So since I don't have Power BI license here, so I don't have any reports connected to this. Okay. So this has been built in my organization and I have in my own tenant. So that's why you cannot able to see some of the features, right? So in the same manner, you can if you want to search for some records, we have the searching feature also. Let's say
For SharePoint, Hemendra, this will be used as the primary data source, right, for the course? Or?
no, we'll be covering like Dataverse as well as SharePoint, because
Okay.
the license, yeah. So we'll
And
also cover model driven apps. Sorry.
Yeah, one more question regarding that. This SharePoint, as this data grows, I think it also has a cap in the sense, I know to
Right,
reach
right.
in the millions takes time. Would you be able to just give us a best practice on that? Like, how do you manage that? I wouldn't call it a life cycle, but that list items beyond a particular date. How do you treat it? Uh, so the app is actually performing well, because as this data grows and it calls SharePoint, performance could take a hit, right?
Yes, obviously, right. So if you have less data and the retention is, not too long, then we can go with SharePoint. But if you think your data, scales, a lot, then we can go with
Yes.
Dataverse. Yeah, yeah. Or you can design a
So,
mechanism where all data is archived, right?
Yes, actually, that is a part I hope you will be able to guide that archive part.
Right. Yes.
so actually, Hemendra, I think we need to use the SharePoint list, not the SharePoint folder. Correct in here.
Right. If you want to access the data, then SharePoint list. Let's say if you have some documents and you wanted to display those documents in the Power App, then you have to go with SharePoint library, document library, which ultimately contains folders in it.
Yeah, and also I read somewhere in SharePoint list, there is a limitation like 5,000 rows, right? Or more than that. Correct me if I am wrong.
No. From not from SharePoint. From every data source, there is a limit of 2000 records. So we have to apply some sort of mechanisms to bring more data into Power Apps.
Okay.
Yeah. Power Apps can only be able to bring 2000 records at a time. So we need to handle if the data is more. So that's what I'll be teaching you in further sessions.
Okay.
Perfect. So SharePoint can
I
hold
think the limit is
actually
30
large amount of
million.
data.
Yeah, 30 million, I think, is the limit
Yeah, correct. So SharePoint can
for a
hold
list.
quite large data. Yeah, quite large
Yeah.
data. But when it comes to Power Apps, you cannot bring that much amount of data because it's a lightweight tool, right? So you
Yes,
need to
yes.
apply some mechanisms so that you restrict the data bringing the data into Power Apps. So that's what I'll show you. Okay.
Yeah, Hemandra, I have one query again.
Sure, Teroj.
Yeah,
Go on.
yeah, it's a very high level. So I want to know about the Power Apps. What kind of business or what kind of in a real time business need this application is targeted for. You know, so
Right.
will it go with will it go with always as an integrated application, or will it stand as a standalone application for the business users? How it will? What is the main
I-
purpose of having Power Apps?
Right. Let's say the basic thing you will be doing is ultimately creating applications. Okay. Applications or apps, right? On top of your data. Okay. Let's say your data is in your Oracle database, okay, or your Microsoft SQL database or MySQL database. So what you'll do is you'll connect this, data with the application, and whatever the business asks you. Let's say you wanted to create a onboard application, okay, onboarding application. So the application requirement is whenever a new joiner comes to our organization, so they have to fill out a form so that the data will be captured and stored in a SQL DB. So that is the basic requirement, right? So then what you'll do, you'll choose, let's say SQL database, and then you'll create a form in the Power Apps. You'll connect these two together, and using the Power Apps, you'll design the front end, right? So the data will be, saved in the Oracle database or SQL database. So that's what you'll be ultimately developing. Let's say this actions and issues register that I was showing, right? So this is one of the requirement from the client, that they have different agencies and they wanted to log all the tickets or the errors they are getting, right? So for that they approached us. Hey, we want to create an error management system. So then we developed this for them. So ultimately the CRUD operations are there. You have to choose a database. The front end will be the Power App. So you will design all the designs in the Power App, and the data will be pushed to any data source of your choice. Whether it could be SharePoint, whether it could be Dataverse or SQL or Oracle. So data will always be in the database. The front end will be the Power App. So you can build any sort of application.
Okay, so let's say I give you assume that we have ERP application. Okay, using our
Okay,
data, we can build any kind of form as per the user interest. We can
correct.
build form, will display data in our ERP application. Let's say we have portal that is being developed using C sharp. They
Right,
can display the data using that
right.
ASP.NET whatever UA. So in that case, what's the purpose of having additional Power App? So how it makes easier? What's the other additional thing that it provides?
Right. So let's say you want to build the UI in ASP.NET, right? So what will you do? Like you need to have a lot of time. You need to know the ASP.NET first, right? And then it will be hard for you to develop. It will take a lot of time. But when it comes to Power Apps, as you have seen, right? So it's a drag and drop interface. You can quickly drag and drop, and it has built-in connectors, right? Let's say your data is in SQL, or as you were saying, your data is in any database. You can connect to that data very easily in 2 3 steps. You don't need to write all those connection settings and everything in the code. So you can click on, let's say you want to connect to SharePoint or any database, click on add data, type whatever the database you want. Let's say SQL Server. SQL Server. Click on it, give the details, and click on connect. Boom! You are connected to SQL, right? Yeah. Now you can start querying the tables, right? You don't need all those .NET middle layer, right? You don't need APIs. You don't need anything. You can bring the data. You can talk to data. You can transform the data in whatever way you want. You don't need any other APIs in between, right? So your data is in SQL. In traditional development, what will you do? You have SQL data, you need a .NET or Spring in between, and then you need React or HTML or ASP.NET in the front end, right? So you need 3-layer architecture. But now we don't need all these, right? So your data, directly connect the data with your app, start developing UI easily, and then you're done. Like within 1 week, you can complete, a big application,
Yeah,
and then you
that
can
makes
deliver it
sense.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, this
right.
is good. One more thing. Yeah, continue.
Right. So in the similar manner, you have almost close to 3-4 thousand, sorry, not 3-4 connectors readily available. So when I say connector means you can connect it with SAP, you can connect it with any of the existing top players in the market in different sectors like ERP, CRM, or any other databases or any cloud providers. You can connect it with
So,
easily.
for the forms, we
Hmm.
can develop different kind of forms using a different data sources. Like one is from SQL Server I use, another from I will
Correct.
take from MySQL, and
Right.
some right, and different data source also we can use, right?
Exactly, exactly. So you can connect to any number of connectors and different connectors here, and then you can bring the data all from different sources. You can modify it and you can push it back to wherever the data source is, you can push it back to that data source. So you can do all sorts of those things here. Connect to different data sources, use it, and then manipulate it however you want. That can be done. Yes. So in our applications, we actually dealt with, like, some of the data was in SharePoint, some of the data was in SQL, and some of the data was in Dataverse. So we combined all those three. We brought the data into the Power App, and then we kind of did all the manipulations over there.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Interesting thing. In a single form, okay, or
Hmm.
any single feature I develop. So can I
Okay.
use data from different sources on single feature or the form that I develop?
Yes, yes, you can do that.
Okay. Let's say I have
Yeah.
4 columns. For two columns
Yes.
I use from database, and other two columns from a different database. That is also possible, right?
Right. Right. So in the sense, you'll create the front end. Okay. So your destination data source is one. So you can bring data from two different sources, show it in the form, ask them to choose something, and then if they hit submit, it will be sent into a different database, right? So you can actually do that, all sort of designing with different data sources. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can do that. Yep.
Um, well, I think today we have 7:30 class, right? Till 7:30. I think it's
Right.
more than
Right.
7:30.
Yeah, it
So
got extended, so I just wanted to clear all your doubts. So going forward, yeah, it'll be, it's okay, like 15 minutes here and there. So if you have any more questions, any clarities needed from me, so sorry for being a little bit fast today because I wanted to address all of your queries, so I'm a little bit fast. But going forward, it'll not be like same. Okay, it'll be a little slow, and I'll make sure
Sir,
everybody is following. Yeah.
excuse me, sir.
Hello. Yes. Yes. It's
So, yeah,
Ashish, right?
this this is Kavita. Actually, sir,
Hello.
I tried to use the trial version which you
Okay.
guided us through the link, but it's asking us add payment method. I have given all the details of my personal and all everything. Then
Okay.
afterwards, it's asking add payment method and which I have to use and what I should do. Go with that.
So you can use your credit card, but it will not charge anything.
Okay.
Credit card or debit
Are
card,
you
it will
sure?
not
Are you
charge.
sure?
Yeah, yeah. It will not take any much amount. It's a trial, right? So once the
Uh,
trial ends, then it will
uh,
start charging you. But before trial ends, you can extend it, right? So not a
it
problem.
is it is a risk, no, because you guys are not giving any other solution from your side.
No. Actually, the thing is,
Mm.
it is too expensive. It is quite
Oh.
expensive, the E36 license. And while developers, like, this intention of trial thing is only focused for developers. So Microsoft itself says it's a
Mm.
developer trial license. Okay, so you can extend it. Like, we have been extend. I mean, I have multiple accounts, so I never
Mm.
get charged. So just use it for 30 days. Then it'll ask you, before it proceed for the payment, it will
So
actually
we
ask you whether you want
one
to proceed
one
or not.
second, sir. One
Sure.
second, sir. We can't get favor from your side, from your institution, because we are studying means you have to give some solution, no, for these things.
No. Actually, I mean, if you no,
They have
I
to
think this.
provide. They have to provide, no, for the students.
No. Actually, if it's a paid thing, we cannot actually
Mm.
provide. If it's an open source, you can use it. But
Oh.
if you want, I can try from my tenant. But
Mm.
again, I'll check that and I'll confirm. But if you have it, right, so it will be with you. If it is on
Okay.
my thing, so you
Oh.
you will not get it right later of this course. So if you use your own tenant, you can browse it from anywhere. You can control everything. So you'll also know the setup of how you
Mm.
set up Microsoft account in any organization. Let's say you joined an organization where they don't have a Microsoft this thing, so you want to start it. So if you set up this, you know basics of how to add users to the AD group, and then you have
Mm.
setting up, how to set up the SharePoint, everything from the scratch. So that's a kind of
Yeah.
exercise you will be doing. So it will be helpful for you. So if you set up this.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Actually,
Okay.
please finish the class in the right time, because we have some other commitment also sometimes, sir.
Sure, definitely. No. I'll not extend classes beyond 1 hour today just
Mm.
because demo. So yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, definitely. Thank you. So,
Okay.
so if you have any more questions, let's take all the questions in the tomorrow session. Like, I think I have spoken to everyone. Like, let's say if I miss anyone, you can ask quick questions. Otherwise, we can call it a day. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Hemendra, this is Vivek here. Actually, I
Hello,
joined
Vivek.
little late. Yeah,
Okay,
my
sure.
question is that are you going to start first Power Automation or first you'll start the Power Apps? Or is there
Uh,
anything interrelated between Power Apps and Power Automation?
right. So obviously there is a relation, right? We have to use Power Automate along with Power Apps to deal with complex, applications. First, I will be starting with Power Apps, and once we are comfortable with Power Apps, then we'll move to Power Automate.
Okay, and for Power Automate, we have to write down the DAX as well, right? DAX, or I'm not
No.
sure
It
about that.
is it is no. It is close to. It is similar to Power FX. What we write in the Power Apps, it is similar to that, but the user interface is different. So here we have the canvas and everything, but the Power Automate looks little different. So I'll quickly show, and then I'll not take much time. I'll just quickly show. So it is a kind of designer type. So you have different steps. You have to connect all those different actions. Like, this is one action. You have to build a flow. You can pick a condition, right? So condition look like this. It's a simple interactive designer. So you need to use it. Something like this. Let's say you want to send an email, you'll pick this. So what it will do, it will execute sequentially. First it will execute this action, second this, third this. So in the sequential manner, it will execute all the steps that you configured, and that workflow will be ready. That's it. So simple.
Okay, that means basically we have to create one workflow here, right?
Exactly. Workflow. Yeah. Power
You
Automate.
said, sorry. So is it Power Flow?
Yeah, it is Power Automate. Earlier we used to call it as Power Flow, right? Workflows or flows. Now they renamed it to Power Automate.
Okay.
Right.
And one more question I have, is there any
Sure.
competition with any other product with Power Automate and Power Apps? I mean,
Yeah. Right. So we have, Kiss Flow. We have, JPR automation tool, right? We have, different tools are there. Like, yeah, I was talking about here, right? Like, we have Mendix OutSystems. I have seen Judy Vinyl. So there's one more tool. Like there are so many so many tools out there, so which are there. But since Power Platform is backed by Microsoft and it has easy connectivity with all the Microsoft suite, Outlook, Skype, Teams, OneDrive, OneDrive, Azure, everything. So it makes it popular. That makes it popular. And every organization will have Microsoft subscription, Microsoft
Right,
Office
right.
subscription. So because of that, it will be easy for them to adopt Power Apps than other apps. So that's why this is popular.
Okay, okay. Yeah, thanks, Ramendra.
Sure, Vivek. So I hope, yeah, Ashish, I think you raised your hand. So do you have Ashish and Kavita? I can see you. So you have any questions or I can call
No,
it? Yeah,
no,
even
no, no.
sure. So I think I'll also have to join another meeting. So I think thanks for joining. So feel free to contact me. So going forward, if you have any questions, I'll share my email ID and try to share my LinkedIn. So you can reach out to me on both those platforms. And thanks for joining. Have a good day.